Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another FanHome Star Trek The Next Generation Enterprise D. I am working on issue 10, stages 35 through 38. I did a lot here, and I think you'll really like this video. I give you a lot of tips and pointers here. So if you haven't done so already, head over to FanHome and subscribe to this today. Start it today, because if you wait, it may not be there tomorrow. So with that, let's get started. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another FanHome Star Trek The Next Generation Build the U.S.S Enterprise D. I am on pack number 10, or issue 10. We'll be looking at this, and fantastic here, stages 35, 36, 37, and 38. So we'll look at the magazine here first. We'll skip over the build instructions. We'll go over those as we go along in this video. Super excited about this. This is once again available from FanHome, so you can order it today and get it while you can, because I'm sure they don't have that many slots available for subscription, and they're gonna sell out pretty fast, I would say. This is a very popular build and a very popular starship. So the first article is, of course, the episode guide. They give us complete episode guide with the magazine here. So we're looking at episode season 2, episode 15, Pen Pals. And season 2, episode 16, Q Who. Very cool there. Big article on that one, definitely. And the next episode is season 2, episode 17, Samaritan Snare. Season 2, episode 18, Up the Long Ladder. Very cool there. And season 2, episode 19, Manhunt. Let's look at the parts that came in this pack. 35, some more parts for the Cobra neck, plus some more panels. 36, some more panels once again. 37, some more deck panels. Very cool there. Plus at the other side of the Cobra neck. And 38 more deck panels. Let's get started. 35, be working on more of the deck panels and inserting the windows, escape pod covers. Now, in previous video I kept calling them life raft doors. I'm sorry, I worked on C-130s for over 20 years and we had life raft doors on top of our wings, and for some reason that is ingrained in my brain. So when I say that, I mean the escape pod covers. That's these right here. So I apologize for that ahead of time. I'll try to continue to use escape pod covers. And the assembly instructions there shows what we're doing. We're going to install the on and off switch onto that ventral deck panel and start working on one of the deck panels. Once again, we'll put in the escape pod covers and windows, LED lights onto the reflector, and then mount that onto the frame. Looks good there. Once it's mounted onto the frame, we'll run the other LED wires, the LED lights, secure it down, and we'll do a light test. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. And I'll scroll up here with the parts. This is 35, and you can see everything that's contained in the bag here. I'll go ahead and take these out and we will get a closer look. DP, BP, EM and BM screws, the clear and black windows, escape pod covers, the ventral panel, which is made of plastic, very nice there, and deck panel, which is made of metal, very cool. And lastly, a set of LED lights. Bring over the Cobra neck, and that's this right here. We're going to mount this on and off switch onto this panel, and it's going to go down just like that. So we're going to take this and insert it through there, and BP screws are going to hold it down. And there we go, all tight, and that's how that looks there. Now let's go ahead and assemble our next deck panel. And as you can see, the deck panel here has all the windows and escape pod covers installed. I made sure the escape pod covers are oriented with the red line going towards the outer portion of the saucer, and I did prop up the panel on a sanding stick so that way the windows do not come flying out on me, because they do stick out some. You don't want to lay it flat down on your bench, because it'd be hard for you to install them. Now we'll take this deck panel 33C from previous stage that we assembled already, and this LED was already installed, so I just had to take the LED light with this issue and mount it on top, the yellow and black, and we're going to mount this to the deck panel here, and it's going to go on top here. It's going to sandwich onto these items right here, okay, and hold those windows in place just like that. And we're going to put 2 EM screws into that. That's how that looks there. And that's how that panel looks. We'll put this aside. We're going to install a different panel. Going to retrieve U303 deck panel. We're going to install that next. Here's our U303 panel, and it's going to get installed right here. Here's our other deck panels where we ended, and this major seam right here. So it's going to basically mount down just like that in that location, and we need to route our wiring around. We're going to put this yellow and black wire on this end here. So we need to retrieve that yellow and black wire, and it's going to go through that, and it's going to get mounted to the deck panel. Just like that. So it's snapped in there. You see that? And the way the wires are routed there. And I'm going to bend it up so it's out of the way. And it's going to go just like that. Turn it over and I'll put my screws into it. DP screws go into it, 3 of them on the other side. So just 2 DP screws go into this. And you can see how your wiring looks off of that. Now I'm going to adjust this a bit because we're going to retrieve that panel we just installed the windows on. And that's this panel right here. This is the panel we're going to install next. And obviously it's going to go underneath here. So we need to route our wires the way they need to be. Okay. And okay, so we'll deal with the LED wires first. So this blue and red wire is going to go on this panel on top here. I'm going to tape it and tape it in place. Okay, so that LED is where it needs to be. And to help me along even further, I went ahead and took some Scotch tape and I taped down those escape pod covers, so that way when I try to snap this in place, they don't come loose on me, which they did earlier. And I think that's going to make a difference for it. We'll get everything lined up here. That's good. Good, good, good. Everything's lined up. And BM screws will hold everything together. All the BMs are in right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the BMs. Now the DP screws go in next. 2 of them. That's good there. And 2 EM screws. There you go, that's secure. Looks great. 2 EMs right there. Turn this over. We'll do a light test. And there you go, there's our light test. All the LEDs look good, including that one. And that's all I do with stage 35. Let's head over and do stage 36. Here's the parts for stage 36. Another deck panel, a few more LED lights, windows. There's a listing of those parts. The instructions here. We'll be working on the Cobra neck again, installing some more windows and attaching the LED lights to that. Making sure our little light in the corner is ready to go there. We got our little reflector, the little indicator light, alignment light. That's very cool there. Then we'll screw down that panel, just like we did before. Work on another deck panel, and we'll do a light test. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 36. More windows, reflector, LED light, some windows there, and the deck panel. Let's get a closer look. AP, BM, DM screws, the transporter emitter pad, and that is very thin metal, like a photo etch. Very cool. Has tape on the back side. We do have some blackout tape. Deck panel, made of metal. Windows, black and clear. The green nav light. More windows and the reflector. along with 2 more sets of LEDs. Next we'll bring over the Cobra head, and we're going to go ahead and put in the windows on this panel here. Dorsal panel they call it. And the reflector requires an LED installed on it. They're red and black and the green and yellow. I went ahead and super glued them in place. Just will help hold them in place a lot better. And put the panel down on top. 2 AP screws go into this. And that's good there. Next we need to bring in our nav light. And the nav light has a flat edge and an angled edge. So the angled edge actually is a little bit longer. Angled edge is going to go into the corner down here. We put the red one on the other side. So this one goes in just like that on this side. And you can see that. And we're ready to mount our panel down on it. Now we'll go ahead and plug in those LEDs the way they need to be. And there's a socket right there. We'll go ahead and plug this in, make sure it's lining up with the pins correctly. There we go. And there it is installed. Second one in. It's good. Now we can put our panel down. Making sure our nav light is installed. It is. And go under the lip with that. Perfect. 3 BM screws will go in right here, these 3. It's good there. And one more. I did lubricate the screws, just makes it easier. 3-in-1 oil. And now we got 2 more screws in. Make sure none of your wires are caught up. These are AP screws. Here's one, and the last one. Perfect. And that's how that looks. We'll go ahead and do a light test. That's good there. That's good there. Looks great. All the lights are lit up. Let's move on to the next step. And the next deck panel, all the windows are installed. That's what it looks like there. We'll take our reflector, and I already installed the LEDs onto it with some Scotch tape. And the reflector is going to go down on top of that to hold those windows in place. 4 DM screws go into this. And the last one. And that's how that looks there. We'll go ahead and do a light test. Lights look good. Next, I'll install the transporter emitter panel. That's this right here. It has double-sided tape on it, some 3M tape. We'll peel that off. That's good there. And lay it down. That's good. That's how that looks. I'll be right back. And that's all I do with stage 36. Let's head over and do stage 37. Here's the parts for stage 37, and this time we did receive another deck panel and some LED lights along with the windows and escape pod covers, along with the right neck panel, and there's a listing of all those parts. And here's the assembly instructions for 37. Build, test, and fit another section of the upper saucer, and we'll link all that to the PCB board. So pretty simple. We've already done that. We do the light test with that after the reflector is installed. We'll route our wiring just a specific way, and that's what that looks like there. So let me get the parts. I'll be right back. I failed to film the parts pack itself, but I do have all the parts laid out on the table, and I'll explain those. I'll be right back. BP, DP screws, clear windows, black windows, escape pod cover, reflector, deck panel made of plastic, Cobra neck side panel made of plastic also, and LED. And the next deck panel is ready to go. I got the escape pod covers on in the proper orientation. All the windows are installed. We'll go ahead and put the reflector on that next, and that's going to hold all our windows down. The reflector, I did tape down the red and black wire, and so now this is just going to go down on top of that. Three BP screws go into this. Perfect. Turn it over, and that's what it looks like there. We'll go ahead and do a light test on this. And there you go. There's the light test. Looks good. I'm going to take this LED, and it's going to go through right here above that bar, and we're going to insert that into our panel. Just like that. And next, take up all the slack, and we'll mount our panel next. Just like that. 2 DP screws go into this. The first one. And that's all we do with that panel so far. That's what that looks like there. I'll turn it over. And that's how that panel looks on the other side here. Looks great. That's all we do with stage 37. Let's head over to do the final stage for this pack, stage 38. Here's the parts for stage 38. Another deck panels. More windows. Some tie straps. Looks good. Stage 38, we'll assemble another deck panel here. Do a light test on that. Can install that next, right beside the other panel we just installed in 37. Then we're going to route those wires over to the PCB board. We're going to mount another panel, 29B. Screw that down. And then another panel, 30B. We'll screw that down. And then we're just going to do a little test fit of the windows onto that Cobra neck panel. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 38. Deck panel, windows, tie straps, windows again, escape pod covers. Deck panel here, made of plastic. Another reflector for that. Another set of windows for our Cobra neck side. Black windows, clear windows, escape pod covers, 3 tie straps, BP, DP, and another LED wire. And the next deck panel has all the windows and escape pod covers. Bring over our reflector for it. I already put in the LED, the blue and red. Flip this over and it's going to go down on top. Just like that. 3 BP screws go into it. And the last one. That's good. Flip it over. That's how it looks. We'll go ahead and do a light test. And there you go. Light test good. Now we need to go ahead and get this installed on the frames. Okay, so once this wire is through this, we're just going to come in on this side here and we're going to snap that in place on top there. Feed that in there and insert it all the way. There we go. And just like that. And that's how that goes there. DP screws go into that. First one and the next one. That's good there. That's how that looks, and that's how that looks. Okay, now we need to go ahead and plug in the wires into the PCB board for these two panels. So I'll gather those. That's these two plugs right here, and they're going to go into the PCB board right there, these two slots right there. Perfect. So we just got to neaten up these wires here. So coming off the board here that we just plugged in, I neatened them up with the 2 tie straps through the frame, and they're loose but not cinched down tight, and that's how that looks there. Now we're going to install 2 more deck panels. I'm going to put 1 more right here next. U315A goes in next, and you want to route your wire under this first rod here. Bend the wire up out of the way because it's going to mount just like that, right up against that panel. And we're going to put our LED in on the other side over here. And it's going to go in just like that on the other side. Snap it in place. Bend it up. And screw those down. Once again with DP screws. That's good there. 2 DP screws are in, and it's installed. And that's what it looks like on the other side. Looks great. Need to install 1 more panel next to that last panel we put in. We're going to put in U316 into it, so we can see how everything lines up. We're going to route our bundle through that, our wire through that, and bend that up a little bit there, out of the way, and our other wire. Nope, I actually have it going through that right there. You can see that, and then it should snap in place. Perfect. And two more DP screws go into this. And 2. That's good there. That's how they look there. All 3 of those panels. Looks great. Bring over this panel here, and we're just going to do a test fit of our windows for it. Just simply going to insert into those slots just like that, and that's how the windows look there. We'll put that aside and save it for the next stages coming up. So that completes stage 38. That was a blast, and I enjoyed this very much. I'll be right back. And wow, we did a lot in this pack. Put a lot of panels on. We put all these panels here on the back here, on the end. We put these 2 panels here on. We worked on the Cobra neck. A lot was done here. I really enjoyed this thoroughly. So if you think you'd like to get this for yourself, head over to FanHome and subscribe to this today. They are actively taking subscription as I speak. Do it while you can, because I'm sure it won't last. They'll fill up all the slots, and you'll have to wait for another release later on in the future. So do it now while you can. I did put a direct link down below. Lets FanHome know that you watched my video, so click on that link and it'll take you right over, and you can subscribe to this wonderful Enterprise D. It's fantastic. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.